Alder Stoyer as Lieutenant Mahoney. The meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, thanks, Lieutenant. Okay. All right, here we go. Welcome to Protection and Policy for December 13th, 2021. We'll take a roll call. Alder Stoyer, I am here. Alder Stevens.
I'm here.
Alder Vanderleest.
Here.
And Alder Lefebvre.
Here.
All present and accounted for. And for some reason, my agenda's not coming up. Is the next one approval of the agenda?
Approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Okay, hold on a second. I got a request from Alder Galvin, who's in Arizona. He would like to have item. Hold on a second here. I'm trying. Okay, what is
Number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah, I can't see it on my thing here. Okay, number 5 to move up to number 1. He's gonna chime in on from Arizona.
Okay, so John, do you want to redo your motion?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
So basically that's the only request is to go ahead. Why don't you all the vendors for all item 5 to be moved up to item 1, then we can approve it.
Okay.
Just so you're aware, Alder
Item
Stoyer.
5 to number 1.
Hello? What?
Motion to move number 5 to number 1.
Okay, do we have a second?
Regular business.
Second.
Second, okay, by Vanderleest, seconded by Lefebvre. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, that passes unanimously. So approval of the agenda, about approval of the minutes, do we have a motion?
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Lefebvre, do we have a second?
Second.
Stevens, seconded by Stevens, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, that passes unanimously. Okay, Mary, I'm gonna keep moving here. So our first item of regular business is number 5 has been moved up to number 1, and that is consideration with possible action to re-examine the municipal fine for possession of marijuana from the July 26, 2021 Protection and Policy Meeting, District 4, Alder Bill Galvin. So before I open the floor or do anything here, I was wondering if Alder Galvin is on the phone.
I am here.
Okay, good. That sounds good. He's in Arizona, so don't make any comments about nice weather or anything to him. He's sensitive,
Yeah.
so don't do that.
But he's gonna miss the nice weather.
Oh. Okay, I'll let him know. All right. So Alder Galvin, if you can refresh us, I know that you was up before, and I'd like you to just kind of talk briefly about that, and I'll have law department kind of chime in as well. So go ahead.
All right, thank you for indulging me like this. I had a constituent approach me about the fines for marijuana. And I'm not going to go down or start discussing about whether it should be legalized yet or not. It's a state thing. And I think, obviously they'll let our representatives know. But at this stage, I'm just making any fines associated with a municipal ordinance violation for possession of marijuana to be a little bit more fair, more just. And then in working with City Attorney Mays, we've had a conversation, and he felt there were some other ordinances that we could tie in with this that should also be considered for having the fines reduced, and I agreed with them. And as you all know, I was an officer for 34 years. I was the guy writing a lot of tickets many times over. And as I got older and I started looking at the people I was issuing tickets to and the people I encountered with these violations, I began to think about a ticket that literally wiped away my ability to make my house payment for a month, or my rent payment, or a car payment. Or if I owed so much money I wasn't able to pay it, and I ended up with a warrant, ended up in the county jail and lost my job and put me further in the hole. So what I am asking the committee to consider is think about the common guy that makes minimum, even $15 an hour. A $1,000 disorderly conduct citation could cost him over 2 to 3 weeks of wages. And we know a lot of people in our community are living check to check. You know, obviously, I'm not saying that people should get a free ride. If someone, you know, breaks the law, is cited by an officer, you know, this is just an ordinance violation. We're not talking about a crime. We're talking about something where an educated officer in the law thinks that at circuit court, but it does deserve some attention for breaking the peace ordinances. And that officer, in issuing these tickets, I was that guy that started looking at these families, and I just think that we need to be more just in how it applies to people. You know, certainly people making a lot of money, 6 figures, these fines mean almost nothing to them. But when you start thinking about how it can affect people long-term, and I know our municipal court has been very good with working with people, but when people are overwhelmed and they're not thinking straight and you let these tickets go and they don't address them, it just starts a downward spiral effect for them that a lot of times they can't get out of. And some of these people, and you may know some of them, I've dealt with them. I've had friends that have done things. You know, it's a one-time thing. They're emotional about something. They make a mistake, a lapse of judgment, and they commit these ordinance violations. And they do have to pay. I mean, there has to be a consequence for their actions. But at the same time, if this person doesn't learn from that first ordinance violation, then officers have the right to refer these to circuit court, where it then becomes a crime, and heavier penalties and fines can be placed on them. So I would, before with your discussion tonight, and just think about the guy in Green Bay who's just making an average wage, and how something like this could affect them. Thank you.
Well, Alder, before you leave,
Sure.
you know, some of what was stated, you know, by law department, they'll talk about that a little bit too, but it sounded like they wanted to drop some of these fines down to $250. So that's one thing, but another thing is that, you know, you were talking about people that have money that can pay, others that don't. And it seems unfortunate that no matter what, you know, the fines are kind of uniform no matter what your pay scale is, so to speak. So I don't know, you know, somebody could say, well, what's your salary range? Can you afford this? And others you can't. But it seems to me that it's like a one size fits all. And I don't know if that's something you've ever thought about, but it's kind of like just the way it is.
Right. And you know, I mean, you could base it on wealth. But I don't think that's the right way to go either. But the officer has the ability. I mean, if he gets John Doe, and John Doe's got 3 other convictions for disorderly conduct, all on a municipal level, that has the ability to say, you know something, this guy's not getting it, and
Right.
he needs to go to. Now it's a crime, and the DA and the judge have the ability to look at that and say, you know, he's not learning, and because at that level they have not just fine them, but they also have the right to incarcerate them as part of their punishment, or order them into counseling, or for alcohol or drugs or anger management, things like that. Something that a municipal judge cannot do. You know, they can order them into community service. Again, something that municipal judge can't do. So it would be neat to say, yeah, you know, depend upon how much your yearly income is, that's going to be based on your fine, but which would be, but I think it's hard to do. And officers at that time, how are they going to get that information? I mean,
Sure.
it just
Right. No, I understand that, but I think once it gets to the court, you know, you would think that you have to kind of throw yourself at depending if you have a good case or not.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've had many very good municipal judges who've been very good about trying to work with these individuals, you know, try to set up something that's fair, something they can afford, something that's not going to break their bank, you know, or put them out on the street. But at the same time, you know, think about $1,000 fine. I mean,
Right.
it can lose some individuals over a year to pay off. Which, you know, again, some people might say, well, that's what they deserve for what they did. But I think if it's that severe, then they should probably be going to circuit court.
Sure.
And so I just think that if we start out at a level that the average guy can look at and not get even more into the doldrums or depressed or whatever else that's affecting him to act the way he acted, that he knows he has the ability to handle this problem that he's created for himself.
Sure. Well, are you going to be around for this entire item, or do you?
I probably got about 10 minutes, so I can. send
Okay,
you this.
all right. Well, we'll have a discussion. I would open the committee or alders. Anybody on the committee first, and then Alder Dorf. I'll get you right away.
I'd like to speak up on this, Mark.
Go ahead, Alder.
I think that, we brought this up before and we talked about it. And as far as the fine goes, talking about, this is the fine, $1,000 fine. Most of the officers that are out there doing their job, they're not looking to tack a big fine. They're trying to work with these people that already, I think they're already involved with, a good rapport to find these people that are in trouble. And basically, if you break the law, it's kind of a reminder that, you shouldn't break the law. And the state of Wisconsin has not legalized marijuana at this point. And it is a violation, and the federal government has not gave a go light to it. As far as the fine goes, this is you look at your local communities here, you got Ashwaubenon, you got Denmark, you got different areas, different communities. And you work with the Brown County as well, with the Brown County Sheriff. And I think that, it has to work together. We should know how many cases are, how many people are really, being hit with such a hard fine. And if they've been repeat offenders or if it's the first time around. Let's put it this way. If you break the law, you're breaking the law, and whatever fine, that they've come up with at this point, that's the law. And I think we got to follow the law. And I think our officers are being, from what I've talked to prior chief, I think that, they were trying to work with the people that are in violations, people that are, given a hard time as far as, how they're, coming across to the officer and how they're respecting the things that are going on. If they're called into a situation like that, I think if they're cooperating with the officers, I think they're not looking to slap the biggest fine. In other words, I think our Green Bay Police Department has the ability to work with the clients that, are in trouble. And,
Sure.
and that's part of it.
Do you feel real quick, and then I'm going to get Alder Lefebvre and then Alder Dorf. Alder Vanderleest, do you feel that lessening the fine as it says in the agenda, bringing it down to $250, is that something that you would consider or not?
When right now, do we know?
A lot of them are like $500, just for current maximum penalties. And I'll just keep that in mind as we discuss. I want to get a few points out, and then our attorneys will chime in as well, and then we can talk further. Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. Alder Lefebvre.
I think it is good to have a set amount. Then, yes, the officers probably have a leeway of what they can do, but I think it'd be good to, as Alder Galvin mentioned, to bring it down. Even 500, that could be quite a bit of a person's weekly check right there. So I know, some of us 500 doesn't seem bad, but it can help. It can hurt a lot of people. So, and we know that it's not marijuana is not a heavy drug right now. So I think that maybe we should set it down as Alder Galvin is mentioning, and let's try to work with people on this. And okay.
All right. Sounds good.
I want to make one other comment.
Okay. Maria.
There was an accident on Packerland Drive, and 2 people were killed. That's in my district. 2 people were killed. And the person that was driving that car, they said they had been using marijuana all day with alcohol usage. They killed 2 people. And when we talk about, severity of the use of it, if you're we're not looking to, to be financial advisors here as far as people. In other words, and are we looking to take on, financial responsibility of, saying that, well, they can't pay this fine, they can't pay that fine. Are we looking to be big brother, big sister as far as how we handle the finances of somebody that's breaking the law? I don't think
Right.
that's really our job, to say, that this fine is too big or this is.
Well, we kind of leave it to the discretion of the officer and then eventually to the courts. So,
That's the way to do it. And as far as
Okay.
us being big brother and big sister, as far as, they can't afford, these people can't afford it.
sure.
Well, that's really not our problem.
Right.
The problem is
Okay.
that they got picked up for, for drug usage or they were doing
All
things
right.
that they shouldn't be. And, we can't micromanage every citizen that's in the city
Sure.
of Green Bay as far as, their finances or anything, if they make big
Yep.
money or if they don't make big money,
Right.
they have to handle their own finances. And that's just that simple. Thank you.
Okay. Duly noted. Alder Dorf, was she there?
She is typing in through the phone right here, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. I saw her before and then she disappeared.
Yeah, her internet's not working. I'm gonna be quiet and
Okay.
put my phone by the microphone.
Okay.
Okay, recording in progress. Okay, I popped in for a moment, so I'll
It's a little choppy. All
I'll be
right.
quiet.
Alder Ned, did you have something to add here? While you're here?
I think she's on, and I'll speak as soon as you want to open the floor. Absolutely. But
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, Alder Dorf, if you can.
Almost done. Sorry.
Oh, she's having trouble.
Yeah, well, we can effort further. We're going to be speaking for this on a little bit of time. So see what you can do there, Ned. Ned, you're a teacher. You should be able to help out here.
Yeah, Alder Sawyer?
Yes. Go ahead.
If I could, I'd just like to say one last thing. I understand Alder Vanderleest's concern, but with the individuals that were involved in that double fatality, that traffic crash, obviously that's got nothing to do with municipal ordinance violations. That's a felony. That is dealt with very harshly by the state.
Yeah.
So you're apples and oranges here. You're trying to compare what happened there. I mean, drug use, the abuse of any drug, including alcohol, is a serious problem in our community. And we can't turn our eyes to that. But I'm talking about simple possession and several other ordinance violations, which many times are very minor. And anyone's finances for them, like I said, they're responsible for what they do. But when if you don't take a $300 ticket, it's pretty steep. Just ask anybody who gets one.
Right.
That's a pretty steep ticket. About what it would be at $250.
So-
So I'm gonna have to take off
Yep.
now. I appreciate your
Okay.
indulgence.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Alder Galvin. On the committee, Alder Stevens, you got anything?
Yeah, I'd like to, I'm sure Rachel Mays would like to speak. So
Oh, all right, that's fine. I just wanted to get the committee to speak first, so.
One
Attorney
final-
Mays, oh, John, can I, Alder Vanderleest, I'd like to hear from Attorney Mays right now.
That's fine.
Attorney, go ahead. You've heard some of the conversation here. What are your thoughts initially?
Yeah, so when the request came through to look at the marijuana penalties, the law department, rather than just looking at the one offense, we looked at it, the offenses chapter more holistically, and looked at some of the minor offenses that during the prosecution are not coming anywhere near the maximum penalties. And 8 of these, I guess for lack of a term, petty offenses, were included in that memo that's included in the packet tonight.
Sure.
Now, so far the discussion has focused more around marijuana, and I provided some more detail about those penalties and how Green Bay stacks up against other municipalities in the area. I did want to add that in addition to the municipalities listed, I did hear back from Ashwaubenon this morning, and its penalty for possession of marijuana is a $200 forfeiture, which comes out to $313 when costs are added. I can tell you right now, City of Green Bay's penalty is a maximum of $500. The default bond amount that's on the citation is for $502. So that's a $350 forfeiture plus costs. So dropping that penalty down to $250 plus costs, that would be a maximum penalty still of $376 when you add in the court costs.
Sure.
So with that penalty, that would put us kind of right in the middle of the pack as far as what other municipalities in the area are doing for their marijuana penalties. Now, we did look at adjusting the marijuana penalties about 3 years ago. Since then, there's been a big expansion of CBD, industrial hemp, Delta 8. So I think that the market is different, that the community and the culture around these items is different. And I think that the recommendations that are in the memo are a guideline. They're a recommendation from the law department. This is not drafted in ordinance form. So the proposals are there as a starting point, and certainly this committee is open to adjusting those, adopting all 8 of those violations, or none of them. But this was just a recommendation from the law department as far as trying to make the penalties for these lesser offenses more equitable. And like Alder Galvin said, with repeat offenses, with more severe violations, there are typically, I mean, most of these are, at least a good chunk of these 8 are adopted state statutes that would be available to go to municipal court, or not to municipal court, to circuit court on criminal charges. So there are still options to escalate, and typically these go hand in hand with other potential offenses. So the potential to either have a more serious offense or multiple offenses definitely still exists.
Okay. Well, I appreciate those comments. Let's see, is Alder Dorf available right now, or Ned, anything? You're on mute too.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry. She's on the phone. I'm going to try to put her up by the speaker if that's okay.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yep.
Hi, I apologize. My internet is down and I can't get in. So I was not able to listen to parts of this, of course, but I wondered what Alder Galvin felt was a good range for the fines to be. Is Alder Galvin still on?
He is not, but it was more or less Alderdorf. He was speaking of bringing it down a bit. I mean, right now we have $500 for a number of these, and with court costs, they go up a little bit extra. He was looking at bringing it down, my understanding, like toward $250, maybe half that. And that's for those 8 items, those 8 fairly common setups there. So he was talking about bringing it down toward 250, unless I'm missing something.
I would definitely be in favor of that, actually in favor of lower than that. And I think in talking with Alder Scannell, we both are in favor of lower than maybe a maximum of 250, but maybe starting with $25, $50. When I look at, I can't see anymore because my computer is completely down, but there was loitering on there. Loitering for like $500 for loitering.
No, right.
It just seemed really extreme. And for the marijuana too, it reminds me of the days where you couldn't eat meat on Friday and then, you're in trouble, but now you can. And because it's just on Friday.
That's a whole different animal.
Marijuana will be legalized soon in the state of Wisconsin. It is legalized throughout the United States. And I don't really believe that we should have these punitive measures for marijuana.
Okay, well, Attorney Mace also brought up something, Alderdorf, that, depending if there's a repeat offender and such, and look at, further fines and such. I mean, they can adjust it accordingly. This is, Alder Galvin seemed to be talking about people that might have a problem once in a while here or there. Why get penalized as much as need be? The courts have the ability to do more of that. So, I was fine with that explanation. So, was that enough, Alderdorf? Are you good there?
I guess, I'm hoping to try to figure out a way to get back on meeting so I can watch and talk about the Afghan resolution too. So, thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right. Anybody else from the committee or other alders? Otherwise, I'll make a motion to open the floor. We're having a motion. Anybody? Okay. I would entertain a motion to open the floor.
Make a motion to open the floor.
Okay, Alder LaFave, seconded by
Second.
Alder Stevens. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Okay, the floor is now open. Please state your name and address for the record and then go ahead. So Ned, you want to start?
Yes, please. Thank you. So Ned Dorff, 1321 Emily Street. And I want to thank Alder Galvin for bringing this topic to the table. And also, he has mentioned that a constituent brought this concern to him, and I appreciate his discretion. It was my request. It occurred to me earlier in the year, after suffering a pretty bad injury, that people are seeking different ways of treating medical conditions, and that as soon as I publicly let people know that I was dealing with a pretty bad herniated disc, there were all these people from around the country, around the world, and a lot of people from right here in Green Bay who are saying, they're dealing with this chronic situation or that chronic situation, and they've found relief using doses of marijuana. And so I thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, okay, what if those people who are technically breaking the law and are finding relief and not causing public disturbance and not engaging in criminal behavior, what if they got nailed with a fine? And it's like Alder Galvin was saying, for the common working person, a $500 fine is a huge deal. So while we as a city, obviously, even though public opinion has shifted significantly on personal, recreational, or medical use of marijuana, obviously we as a city are not going to be legalizing it, but we do have the power to deter. Could Alder Vanderleest mute?
No.
A lot of noise.
Okay, yeah. Please mute. Go ahead. Are you good?
I mean, he's not muted yet. I was just hoping he could mute us.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
As a city, I think we could deter law enforcement from spending time and resources on small amounts of marijuana. We know that Alder Galvin mentioned keeping those penalties in place for actual criminal behavior, and I totally agree with that. Is acting dangerously behind the wheel or harming somebody else because of their use of marijuana? Absolutely, there should be a penalty for that. But I'd say that we are at the point where we consider personal use as basically a victimless crime, if you would ask the majority of people. Nationwide, there are disproportionate arrests based on color, based on class, and it's not an equitable issue anymore. There are folks getting arrested even though there's similar patterns of use across color lines and across class lines and across political lines. To me, Alder Galvin brought up the issue of justice. It's absolutely an issue of justice. We're nailing poorer people with and I think as a city we can do better. So So my opinion is that I believe the city should reduce the fine as low as possible. $1 would be a great start. But if we feel that that is too low, then I guess up to the point of how much it costs to process the actual ticket would be a good place to cap it. But really, we are not doing our community a service by keeping this exorbitant fee on the books.
I was going to ask you a question, Ned. There are these products out there, like you said, CBD and hemp and different things like that, that my understanding, I mean, they have shops around that sell things, and it, unless I'm wrong, it sounds like some of this is okay. I mean, it seems to go through. I don't know. Am I wrong on that? They have these shops that have that type of, it depends on the potency, so to speak, of the marijuana. Is that part of it?
I'm as far as products that are legally available in Wisconsin right now, I think CBD and Delta 8 and various industrial hemp products are available. And there are local shops selling those. I don't know if the research is, as broad as it has been on actual marijuana. I'm not sure. So I couldn't really speak to that.
I wasn't asking for a whole scientific explanation, but I understand that those things are out there and that some people are utilizing that. And I know that there are folks that have looked at medical marijuana as well. Wisconsin and, is different than some of the surrounding states. I understand that. So it seems like some of this has to go through the state as well, state representatives to change things that way. I mean, we can talk about things locally, but, until it's changed at the state level, it makes it difficult, at least on some of that.
I guess that's why I brought up the fine aspect, because that is something we can do locally. And as, Alder Vanderleest mentioned, whatever fine they come up with, that's the law. But really, they is you. It's the city council. You come up with the fine, and that's the law. So that is a way that the city of Green Bay could take a stand and say, hey, we know that public opinion, the market, everything is shifted on this. We know that it may not be shifting on this, but we as a city recognize that people want something different.
Well, I appreciate your comments. It's duly noted. I don't know, the committee, anybody have any questions of Mr. Dorf? Otherwise, we'll move on.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
You bet. All right. Anybody make a motion to close the floor?
I'll make a motion to close the floor.
Okay, by Stevens. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by LaFave. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right, some good discussion there. I think, you got both ends of it here. Mr. Dorf was talking about bringing it down to $1 or so. Some people are saying keep it up at 500 or higher. I think any kind of motion to move forward on this, it's not going to be perfect. Somebody's not going to be happy no matter what. I think the thought of bringing it down to 250 to me is a good start. We can see how that works for a while. Fine. If it doesn't, then we can visit it another time and try to alter it accordingly. Alder LaFave, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I think I want to bring it down to about 200, like our neighbor, I think Alder May said Ashwaubenon. I think we should be kind of consistent because somebody could be driving from Ashwaubenon. And just, I think we should be consistent. It could be down to 200. Because then you also got your court case on your court costs on top of there. So that's going to bring it up to what, almost 300 or maybe just over 300. And that's starting to get up there.
Right.
So I think maybe we could start at that amount.
Okay.
See how it goes.
I think one of the things that Attorney Mays kind of brought up was that we're not consistent with all the communities around us, correct? Mm-hmm. They all have different. Attorney Mays, what is the highest fine that you see for what we're speaking of that you've found in your research? And what is the low, surrounding communities?
Sure. So the highest one that I'm seeing is De Pere has a tiered first offense, second offense, third offense. So the third offense is $754 inclusive of costs. The lowest that I'm seeing is Nina, currently at $100 forfeiture. So inclusive of costs, that would be $187.
Okay.
Those are Northeast Wisconsin. I know that there are other cities in the state that do lower forfeitures, but I was looking at Northeast Wisconsin communities for that very purpose of being consistent for this part of the state.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody else, anything else? Otherwise, Alder Vanderleest? Go ahead, you're muted. You're muted, John. John? You're muted.
You're muted.
I can't read lips. I'm pretty good, but I'm not that good.
Okay.
Why you can't change it?
Hi. You hear me?
Juan, you're not up yet. You're not up yet. You're not up yet. We'll be getting to you shortly. Alder Vanderleest, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Can't you push your button, John?
Oh, brother. You're probably hanging with Alder Dorf on this.
Excuse me?
I'm
I'm
just,
still on.
calm down. I'm not picking on you.
I'm not muted.
You're right. You're not.
John,
Alder
your button on the
Vanderleest,
bottom.
I can't hear you at all. Alder Vanderleest, you're muted. So
Alder Steuer, can the meeting administrator unmute him?
I would like to see that. Can we try that?
This is Lieutenant Mahoney. I've tried doing that. All I could do is send him a request to unmute himself. In the bottom left of his screen, there should be a mute or start video. So if he could hear us in the bottom left, if he just clicks the unmute, hopefully
Right.
that works.
That seems to work before.
Chair,
Yeah, I don't know why it's not working.
Well, anyway, I don't know what to do here. We should just move on somehow. My feeling is this, to try to stay consistent. In fact, Attorney Mays, you talked about the 3-tiered system in De Pere.
Mark, can you hear me now?
Okay.
John, you're killing me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Let me just get one point across and I'm gonna let you speak. The 3-tiered system in De Pere. Do we have anything like that here in Green Bay? Attorney Mays.
No, we don't. We have a uniform penalty. If it's a more serious offense, the officer always has the option to refer it to circuit court.
So you, in your estimation, do you feel that's adequate enough for Green Bay as opposed to having a 3-tiered system like De Pere has?
I do. Most of the municipalities have a single penalty. Appleton and De Pere both have a tiered system, and Fond du Lac differentiates between adults and juveniles. But Neenah and Ashwaubenon and Green Bay and all the adults in Fond du Lac, they all have a uniform penalty.
Right.
I think that manages expectations, and
Okay.
an officer doesn't have to look through a record in order to determine which offense number it is.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Okay, Alder Vanderleest, we're strapped in with our seatbelts. We're ready now. Go ahead.
All right. I'm sorry that my computer, I wasn't able to, use the button on the side or, to change that. But anyway, if you can hear me now,
Yes.
it'd be nice if we had the Brown County Sheriff, chime in on this, and the Green Bay, our new chief chime in on this before I'd make a motion that we'd just receive and place on file till the next meeting, till we can talk with the both of the sheriff and our new chief and get his take on what's going on as far as any cases. How big a problem is this in the city of Green Bay right now? How many cases have we that are going on right now? How many active since the first of the year that we've had problem with as far as, what other complaints? Are we getting a lot of complaints about this? What are the actual figures?
But I'd have to, Attorney Mays, do you have anything on that?
I don't have the overall offense counts for possession of marijuana citations issued
Okay.
in the city of Green
We
Bay.
want to know the dollar amount figures as well. How much dollar amount each one has been, the ones that have been prosecuted, what is the dollar amount? Is this a
Sure.
problem in our city? We should know that before we vote on anything.
Okay, let me ask, is Lieutenant Mahoney there?
Yes,
Lieutenant
I'm here.
Mahoney, you've
I'm here.
heard some of the discussion on this. What is your take as far as, I know you can't for the chief and somebody else, but what's your take initially on that?
Well, our take is, not to be blunt, we don't bother with anyone that is in their own home smoking marijuana. So when you talk about personal use, it's not like we go to houses and do that. Even our officers out on the road, a lot of times, if it's a small amount, we just destroy it and dispose of it, that citations aren't issued. Yes, we do have the discretion to kick it up to circuit court for second and subsequent offenses. Yes, without speaking for the chief, or obviously the sheriff, I don't believe zeroing out the fine plus cost would be the answer. I do realize times are tight for people. They're tight for everyone, but it's still against the law. There has to be some motivation for someone not to do it. Like I said, if someone's in their house smoking marijuana, we will never know about it. And you're absolutely right. We don't have the power or the resources to go after that. But when
Sure.
people are out and about on the street, then yes, that's what we care about, because they are out and about in the public. They could be driving. But yes, I don't want to speak for Chief Davis because
Sure.
he might have an opinion for the department.
Okay, well, I appreciate those comments. And I think with that, this committee can vote accordingly and it'll still go to city council. My feeling is if the sheriff or the chief want to interject anything, they can do that at council as well. And this has been on the docket for some time. We brought this up several times over the years. I don't think we're trying to hide anything or that. I think that it's something that we should really speak on right now. That's just my feeling. We can go accordingly at council, but Alder LaFave, and then I'm gonna try to wind this up.
Well, does Alder Stevens want to say something first? Otherwise, I was going to make a motion.
Okay,
I
Alder Stevens, go for it.
Okay, so regarding the situation about the marijuana, I know Alder LaFave suggested 200. I'd like to go a little further and I would like to suggest 150. Would you be okay with that, Alder?
Sure.
Okay, and regarding the other citations that Attorney Mays has brought forward, I feel 250 on those is pretty well. I like the 250 for the other ones. So my motion would be to reduce the marijuana down to 150 plus costs. And the other ones that Attorney Mays has suggested we keep at 250.
Before we do that, I just had a question, Alder Stevens. These are all pretty much the same price range, if you will. What is your take? Would just change the marijuana to an even lower rate than the other ones? What was your reason?
I like what Ned Dorf was talking about. We can look at all of these citations separately or put them all in one while everybody's worried about the marijuana one the most. So let's pull that one and keep all the other ones at 250 and make the marijuana at 150.
Okay, well, I just wanted to hear your line of reasoning. So is that your motion?
That is my motion.
All right, do we have a second?
Well, I kind of want to second it in a way, but I'm wondering about the other citations, though. They're also very minor.
Yeah, I don't know if you would look at just consistency, Alder Stevens, all the way across the board. I don't know, that just, considering.
Unless you want to do 150 across the board, I'm okay with that.
Well,
So,
I'll leave, it's your motion. You bring it forward, whatever you feel.
I know we haven't discussed the other ones, so we've been more
I'll
topic of
second it so
marijuana.
we can discuss it.
Well, I don't know if we have time for every one of those individually. I mean, we're talking about the marijuana one right now, and you're right about that, Alder Stevens. We're talking about that particular one. So if that's the case, if we're talking just about that one, we can always those others at another time, correct? Is that your thought?
Or
Okay.
deal with them now, and we do the 250 that the law department suggested to us.
Well, it's your motion. You go forward. Whatever you want to do, go ahead.
I think the marijuana one should go to 150 and the other one stay at 250.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Before we
Okay.
vote, Mark, I just want to make one comment.
Yes, go ahead.
You heard our officer speak just a few minutes ago about how his thoughts are on it.
Sure.
And we haven't really got the feedback, how many cases that we're talking about. And you heard him say that if people are smoking marijuana in their own homes, that's their business. And I don't think this is a big issue about, changing any, in other words, I think we're on the middle of the road as far as how we're handling it. If you want to go to, the lower fees, but you heard the officer say that, there's, in other words, there's penalties involved when you break the law.
Sure.
And they're not going in your home trying to, uproot you and give you a fine. They're staying clear of that.
Right.
What kind of message do we want to say? I would sooner follow the police recommendations, how they feel about it. And we haven't really heard from either the sheriff or our new chief at all. And I think we should take note of that as well. I won't
Right.
support this. I won't support this more so
Okay.
because we haven't got all the facts. We're just kind of, shooting in the dark here, and we don't have the real facts. And the real facts will be when we hear from our chief.
Alder Vanderleest, it has been brought up, though, that they were talking about the officer has the discretion here.
That's right.
To,
And I think
they
they're
have-
already doing a
They
good
have
job.
the discretion to change that. So it's not like just voting for this, that it's going to be like that. I mean, we have to just
Sure.
put some kind of a number on. Who's calling me?
I am.
Go ahead.
I understand what Vanderleest is saying, but this was in front of us in July. I feel like these departments had plenty of time to get this information that Alder Vanderleest is requesting now. So I feel like we should just move forward. This was here in July. It's now December. They had 6 months to get us this additional information that Vanderleest is asking for. So I feel like it's time just to move forward.
All
And I
right.
thank Vanderleest
I
for
agree.
his comments, but the departments did have plenty of time to bring this information forward.
All right, so you made a motion and it was seconded by LaFave. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Oh, Alderdorf.
Please,
Alderdorf
Aldersdorf,
is
please.
here.
Oh, I didn't see you. I didn't see you.
I know. I just want to know what the total would be with cost.
Oh,
It's at 150.
all right. Attorney Mays?
With costs, $150 forfeiture would be $250.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm going to say you guys think about going to 100, so then it would only be $200. Okay, that's
With costs, $100 forfeiture would be $187. That would be the same as what Nina is currently doing.
just asking.
Well,
Just asking.
we have a motion on the floor right now. Attorney Alder Stevens, do you? Barb, where were you, Barb? We needed you.
My husband came home at 6.
I know. Listen, we're doing our best. All right. Is there any other discussion? We did make a motion. Do we have to vote on that first? And then it sounds like we'd have to vote initially on that, unless you take it back.
Well, we need to start somewhere. I think 150 would be efficient. Granted, probably 6 months from now, we'll probably revisit this again, and it might go down some more. But also this is going to go in front of Common Council
Sure.
next week. So
Right.
if this item does get pulled, then the entire common council will be addressing it again.
Okay, good
No,
point.
tonight's only just a recommendation to council.
So you're good with your, what you did, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're ready to vote then. Anybody else want to chime in? Otherwise, then we're going to move forward with the vote. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay,
Nay. Okay, it's 3-1.
because of lack of information. Because of lack of
we-
information.
Fine.
And the thing is, John, we will, like, we can have the chief and the sheriff chime in on that council. I'll make sure that they know about that and they can chime in and we can talk about it then. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all for your input. It was very, very lively.
Jeez.
Alder Steuer, just so you know, I type up notes from the meeting that I forward to the chief, so he will be briefed about this, and
Yes.
I'll also let him personally know that your request, I know he goes to all the council meetings, but he'll be briefed on the discussion.
And is there any way that, well, I mean, I could do it too, but is there any way you could reach out to the sheriff on our behalf or not? You
Yeah,
wanna
I could try. I'll call my contacts over there saying that he's requested. It would probably be better coming from one of you, one of the elders.
Yeah, Alder Stevens, you want to do that?
No, I think Attorney Mays, do we need the sheriff involved in this for Brown County? We're talking about a city ordinance, not a Brown County ordinance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
The
this
city,
You know,
the city and Brown
Go ahead.
County work together as far as
Well-
the court system goes. The city and Brown County work together and, just like De Pere, in other words, we're all in the mix. We're all in the county. De Pere, Wrightstown.
I don't see it being a problem at
No,
all.
not
I
at
don't
all.
see it being a
We
problem.
should
So,
have input from the sheriff. In other words, he has a larger swipe than the city.
sure.
He's got the whole county. So he should
So
weigh in as well.
Attorney Mays, does Brown County come into the city to do citations?
The only citations that go to the Green Bay Municipal Court are issued by city officials. The Sheriff's Department refers its citations over to the Circuit Court. The Sheriff's Department does not issue municipal citations for the
There you
Green
go.
Bay Municipal Court.
Okay, well, that's out of my hands. If the sheriff wants to stop in and just make some comments, that's fine, but I'm fine either way. So, Attorney Mays, I don't know if, will the sheriff be aware of this meeting? And he'll be advised to either stop or not stop. It's up to you. What do you think? I would say he's invited. How about that?
Well, the council can invite whoever they want
Yeah.
to speak at the meeting.
Listen, I'll reach out. I'll reach out to the sheriff, okay? I'll reach out. Okay, we
I can
gotta.
also text him. I can text him
Please.
right now. I have his number.
Well, good. Well, just tell him that I'm requesting, okay?
I'll text
All
him
right,
right
can we
now.
move on? Can we move on? Please, for all of us?
Thank
Okay,
you for
that,
your good work here, Mark.
yeah, we're trying. Okay, next. Number 1, we have consideration with possible action on an appeal by La Toyota LLC regarding the denial of the mobile food license. Attorney, Law Department? What's your take?
Yeah, Law Department is recommending to deny the appeal as the applicant has been convicted
Okay.
of crimes that substantially relate to the license activity.
Okay, and police?
Please concur with law.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I have the document with the record there. It should be in the packet, correct? Okay, I see it. I do see it. Okay. Does anybody from the committee have anything to say initially? Otherwise, I'll make a motion and have a motion made to open the floor.
Why don't you make a motion before?
Okay, by LaFave, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vanderleest after a motion by LaFave. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, please state your name and address for the record. So just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Juan Contreras. My address is 2142 Sadimir Lane, Green Bay.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for being patient here. You know, I know you've been waiting a while, but, you know, we held this from the last meeting because, you know, there was some mix up or what have you, but you are here now. So if you can talk to us briefly, the law department feels that you should not have this, and as well as the police department. So if you can talk to the committee and tell us why you feel that you deserve to have this mobile food license.
Well, I have when I have the problem, I was so young, you know, I don't was thinking about this one is gonna be a problem in the future. I realized the last time when I sent my in my letter, I write it down. I almost got deported to Mexico, and I realized when I was in jail and all that. And I was feeling so bad for my family and all that. Since then, when I come out, I take a NIOP program, and I don't drink since then. I would like to have another change to own business. If you guys let me do it. I don't go for now because I build my truck to do my own business. And I try to work hard and on all that. What else I can say? I feel sorry for all the problems I cause. Since that happens, I don't have any problems no more. So
Okay.
I think to have, if you guys give me another chance, so I feel like appreciate it.
What have you been doing since, how have you been working lately?
I work, my fiance work and, you know, she have a job and I take care of the kids. I
Okay,
do things here and there, but I don't have a permanent job right now.
sure. Okay. All right. Committee, does anybody have any questions? Anybody? Alder LaFave.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming, and it's been 7 years, and you said that, you know, I see nothing in those 7 years on your record. And I went through and I read the release from the different programs, and they all had good words, that you complied, you did everything that you needed to do. Is there anything else that you could, give us?
You have letters from, well, you don't have really an employer. You know, we're looking for any kind of letters of recommendation. I think there was some that Alder LaFave mentioned.
No, I don't have no that. I just want to let you know I'm a citizen right now. I'm naturalization this year, and I have the records too for that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. How long have you been in the country here?
21 years.
21 years. Okay. All right. So you're going for citizenship right now, you said? Or
I have the citizenship already.
you have citizenship? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misinterpreted. Okay. Alder LaFave, do you have anything else? Otherwise, anybody else on the committee or alders want to say anything?
Do you want to make one question, Mark?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask the gentleman if his business is licensed to the state of Wisconsin for the sales tax purposes.
I already have that.
You have that?
Yeah.
So your business is registered with the state of Wisconsin, and you have a tax number and everything like that?
Yep.
Okay, that
All right.
answers my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to bring a motion forward?
Oh, also, Mr. Contreras, are there any fines that are due yet? Have you paid all fines?
They already pay everything.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right. Committee, anybody want to bring something forward?
I'll make a motion. Oh, well, we have to close the floor
Yeah,
first.
that's
Let's make a
true.
motion to
Thank you.
close the
All
floor.
right, you bet. Motion by LaFave, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Van, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we grant Mr. Carreras his license for a mobile food truck.
Okay,
I think that, because I believe that he has, 7 years is a long time to be a citizen, He is now a completely US citizen, but I meant also to be a citizen and he went through all the programs, he did everything he was supposed to do. And I think he realized, and I think it's good, that he wants to start a business himself, and that is very good. So that's why I make the motion.
okay, all right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Stevens. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes unanimously. And one thing I got to tell you, Mr. Contreras, this goes to City Council on December 21st, right? Next Tuesday? No, I'm correct on that date?
Yes.
All right, 6 o'clock. So this is a recommendation to the City Council. Normally, a lot of these things go through pretty well, but there's always that possibility. So once City Council votes on this on the 21st, then it would be official. But we used so far, and the committee followed you, and we hope for the best for you, and that you'll do good, do us proud. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Appreciate that.
Good luck.
All right, good luck. All right. So we're going to move ahead here. Number 2, consideration with possible action on an appeal by Cara Mason for a denial of her operator's license. Staff?
Law Department recommends denial because the applicant is a habitual law offender for offenses that substantially relate to the licensed activity.
Okay. Police?
Please concur with law.
Okay.
Alder Stoyer, this is Clerk Jeffrey.
Yes. Yes.
We did notify Ms. Mason that the meeting was happening today. So
Yes.
hopefully she's on. She was not, I'm not sure why she didn't attend the last meeting, but we did notify her, just so.
All right. Well, I'm looking for her record, of various things. Am I missing it? I've got 3 different files, but I don't see record.
You mean her
Yeah.
police record?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
that would
see-
have been.
Is it on there? I don't see it.
Yeah, 2007 to 2020.
Oh, here we go. You guys are too good. All right. Okay, good. I've got that. So is Cara Mason out there? Cara Mason, are you at the meeting? I'll ask one more time. Cara Mason, are you at the meeting? Now, it's sad in a way because now this is the second time we've had this with her. And it's a combination of either just communication slip-ups or not. But, I think we need to impress upon folks that you need to come forward and do this, and it's part of the process of citizenship and all that other good stuff. So, committee, what's your take?
Chairman, I'll make the motion.
Motion to deny? Okay, does anybody else have a comment? Do we have a second on that?
I guess a second,
Okay.
and then
Now, is this something that, something happens where she decides to come forward again, Attorney Mays, she could do that, but at a future date?
That is correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Alder LaFave.
Yes. 2012 was her last, running with the law or whatever you want to say. But then 2020, she had operating while suspended. Did something happened way back in 2020. She lost her license, but she never, do you know what happened? Why she would, in that time period, something must have happened that she would have no license?
Yeah, I can only speculate on that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't
on
know.
that.
Normally she'd be here to describe that, but we're not going to know every nuance on all of this.
Right, right.
It seemed like, we had quite a few issues 14 years ago. It was quite a,
Well, she's not here to defend herself, so we should
right, I know.
move on from
Yeah.
this.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. The denial. Okay. Let's see if I can get back here. All right, number 3. Consideration with possible action on general ordinance number 3121-21, amending general ordinance number 42-20 relating to temporary expansion of licensed premises. Staff? Is there anything you can add to that?
So we have actually, this is Clerk Jeffries, we have 12 establishments who have taken advantage of what I call the TALP, temporary expansion of licensed premises. So it seemed prudent given recent events with the COVID-19 pandemic to continue this ability for licensed holders to expand their premises for the purpose of really social distancing, mostly obviously in the warmer months. Currently, the TELP would expire at the end of 2021, so basically in a few weeks. And so I felt that it made sense to extend it to likewise the end of 2022. I was also open to extending it to the end of the license year, which was 2023. That would be June 30th of 2023. But I think it does make sense to extend it just for another full calendar year. Indeed.
And things may change next year too, so, Okay, committee, do anything on that committee? What's your take?
Alder Johnson wants to speak.
Oh, Alder Johnson?
Yeah, Alder Sawyer, thank you. Item number 7 that you see in the agenda is communication I submitted is the exact same thing. So just kind of a point of clarification on that. And obviously, since I submitted the communication, I support the proposal. I do think it's important to go through the end of the year by the time an establishment makes an investment, in patio space and furniture and things of that nature. Going through the middle of the year doesn't make any sense. But at the end of the day, the pandemic is not over. And so I think continuing to provide these options for our small business community is important. With that, I recognize that there's someone on the call that perhaps would like to speak to this issue, though I don't want to be presumptuous. So the committee may want to entertain opening the floor. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay.
Alder Stevens lost internet connection,
Oh.
and he will be trying to get back. It's a thing tonight.
What is going on? Do we have like some celestial event going on out there or what? It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Well, yeah, make a motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we extend the temporary.
Let's open the floor.
Oh, you want, okay, open the floor. I'm sorry, open the floor first.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Alder Vanderleest, second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, Alder Stevens, are you out there? Yeah? Or not?
No.
He's not.
He
He's
is
not.
still not logged back in.
Fine.
When I
Okay,
see him,
well,
I'll approve him right away.
That's fine. We do have a quorum, so we can continue. All right. Is there anybody here to speak to this from the public? Anybody?
Alders, my name is Brian Bunkerman.
Okay, so state your name and address for the record and then continue.
Brian Bunkelman, I live at 3699 Euro, and my business is the Sardine Can on Broadway.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Bunkelman.
Thank you. I had actually submitted some paperwork with the clerk's office a couple of weeks ago and worked with Alderman Johnson to see if this could be moved out a whole nother year, which is great. I thought from the standpoint, I believe it was mentioned 12 establishments utilized this last year. I thought it was a great way because of the pandemic, and since we know the pandemic's not going away, to try to socially distance, utilize more space, be very creative for populations, whether it be the afternoon or evenings, from that perspective, when it's a little warmer out. So if rain
Okay.
were extended, I think that'd be great.
All right, I was going to ask you a quick question. I mean, with all the social distancing and that, and your place is fairly popular, it's kind of crowded at times. So I'm just wondering, have you had success implementing this in your establishment?
Yes, specifically last summer, we utilized what I'll call our back parking lot every Wednesday and probably most Saturdays when obviously people are coming out, different things, farmers market, whatnot. But it was a great way based on where we've shaped our new portion of the patio that they can walk almost 3/4 of our building outside and socially distance as they want, whether they're wanting to get an adult beverage at one of the areas to do that, or stand, 5, 10, 15 feet away from people, they can do that. We have that opportunity with the back lot. So I just think the point, it is very, very helpful.
Okay, well, good. I appreciate that. Committee, do you have anything to ask of Mr. Bunkelman? Anybody? Okay. Is there anybody else to speak to this? Okay, otherwise I'll entertain a motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor.
By Vanderleest, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by LaFave. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, after listening to Alder Johnson and Mr. Bunkelman, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Committee, do you have any other concerns? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay, by Vanderleest, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by LaFave. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes unanimously. Again, this goes to City Council for final approval on December 21st.
Craig is waiting to be let in.
Okay. Does he feel left out?
He does. He does.
Well, I mean,
Lieutenant Mahoney has got to let him in, or somebody has to, or Mary.
All right, well, we'll wait for him to come in for the next item.
It keeps saying joining, he should be in now.
All right, so I guess, for that last item, you'll have to make some kind of a note that he was not there for that. Okay. All right, are we waiting for that then, I guess? Can we move forward?
Alder Stevens, you want to unmute yourself and say you're here?
Here,
Okay.
I lost internet service.
That's too much. All right. I'm gonna have to talk to people about that. All
Are you
right,
parked outside of Barb Dorf's house?
all right. We need more expansion on that. Okay, next, number 4. Consideration with possible action on drafting a resolution in support of Afghan refugees from District 1. Alder Barb Dorf brought this forward. Alder Dorf.
Thank you so much. I want to make this brief, but what I wanted to do was go about this resolution in maybe the correct way, using the correct process, coming to protection policy, asking if we could work on it, bringing it back next month to protection policy, not rushing to get it in by the next meeting, and then looking at it at protection and policy, and then moving it on to council. So my thoughts were 2 people volunteered to work on it with me, which were Alder Stoyer and Alder Gerlach. Alder Burnett had contacted me today and let me know that Appleton has already put in a resolution, suggested we maybe look at Appleton's resolution to get some ideas, and that's great. Why reinvent the whole wheel? But there are things we can put in. So that is my ask today, is just that you would allow this resolution to be drafted and to be brought back to the January Protection and Policy Committee.
Okay, thank you for that. Alder Johnson, you're out there too, and I remember you made a comment as well. I don't know if you want to share that right now or if we just move forward.
Are you talking about that email string?
Yes.
That was related to a completely separate item, not this one.
Oh, okay.
Glad to see you followed it though.
Well, at least I'm reading. All right. Okay, never mind. I just thought, okay. All right, committee, do you have any questions of Alder Dorf or anything? What's your thought?
Motion to hold to the January meeting, number 4, Barb Dorf's recommendation.
Okay, so when you mean holding, we're,
In other words,
so
we're
we're
gonna-
just,
No.
we're gonna still work, you still want to work on it now, so there should be a better,
a resolution to, in other words, to bring it back for the January meeting.
okay. We'll bring the resolution back for the January meeting. Alder Dorf, are you good with that?
Right, so it's like giving like permission or approving the
Well-
draft of a resolution and then bringing it back. So that's kind of, you're approving the idea of drafting it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Alder Vanderleest, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so that would be the motion. Do we have a second? We have a second by LaFave. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? That passes. I just want to make a comment, Alder Dorf, I appreciate you bringing this forward. We're pretty lucky to live in this country. There's been a lot of issues and things that have gone on over in Afghanistan and that and all. We'll talk about that more later, but I appreciate you bringing it forward just for us to look at, and I think it's an important issue. So thank you. All right, we're moving on. Consideration with possible action to re-examine the municipal fine for possession. Oh, wait a minute, we already did that. We moved that up. I'm just going one step at a time here. Never mind. Number 6, consideration with possible action on creating a gun violence task force to address all reasons for the recent surge of gunshots fired. District 9, Alder Brian Johnson. Alder Johnson, you want to start it off?
Sure. Thank you, Alder Steuer. So I've had conversations with Police Chief Commander Warwick. We actually have an outline that perhaps we can include with the city council packet, but it was just completed here. But I thought I would just at least give you some general framework of what we're looking at. So in particular, when I submitted the communication, it was intended to talk or speak more to not exclusively about immediate response. Obviously, I mean, that is a police solution, right? When you see these gunshots being fired, that's an immediate thing that they need to respond to. And that's something that I think you have to entrust in their strategies and the way that they deploy resources to effectively respond to that. But what I would like to see out of the task force is a broader conversation about why violence is happening in the first place. And I think, part of that, as I've discussed in some other forums, part of that is having, open and honest conversations about systemic issues. I do think that there are transient conversations that need to occur. I think topics around recidivism are critically important. And so, and just general trust with our police department and the way that the community interacts and responds with them. So after having that conversation with the police chief, we talked about how this task force most appropriately and most efficiently serve the planning, that there does need to be a community perspective in all of this conversation. It's not exclusively a problem for our police department to solve. And as I'm sure many of you saw in the press conference that was held on Friday, there was discussion of a neighborhood response team that would conduct street level police intervention. And so I think the idea after talking with Chief was that this task force, and we'll loosely call it a task force for now, right? Like I got some pushback on should it be called the gun violence task force? Oh, you're trying to modify the Second Amendment. As I commented to somebody, call it the Pink Panther task force. I don't care what you call it. I'm not hung up about semantics. Let's just solve the problem. And so, so really, I think the best way to do this is if we can work with a group of individuals that would help support that neighborhood response team to tackle some of those issues that I mentioned. The police chief has suggested a group no larger than 6 individuals, comprised of community leaders, service providers, other members that can help address this issue. And again, it's recognizing that this issue just can't be solved by police alone, nor is it their responsibility alone to solve this problem. And so I think when you start bringing in, school counselors and folks who have that lived who have maybe been through these crisis situations, who could perhaps provide a level of introspect that maybe is foreign to many of us. The one thing that I after just talking through this with some folks, and I will leave it up to the committee to deliberate, I personally would prefer not to see elected officials appointed to this because I don't want to see it politicized. I would rather service providers who can have a direct impact, that can make recommendations to policymakers that can be implemented. But I think what we really need out of this is not political talk. We need individuals with experience addressing this situation that come to the table with tangible recommendations that we can act on. So that's the general framework. Into additional suggestions and feedback from the committee. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Okay, thank you, Alder Johnson. Alders Burnett and Gerlach and I were at that press conference on Friday, and we also had an opportunity to speak to, well, at least I did, along with Chief Davis and Commander Warwick. We spent about 45 minutes down in the police lobby talking to numerous citizens. So there is concern out there, no doubt about it. And I've walked, that's part of my district. So I walked that, and then I've talked to numerous people, and I know Alder Johnson is actually in your area. So we are concerned. My daughter lives a block away from that area, so I'm concerned not only.
Just to be clear, Alder Steuer, this issue is not an isolated Hubbard. Well, isolated Hubbard Street incident. Three incidents there, right? But this is a citywide pandemic right now.
I understand that. I know we were talking about, Hubbard had 3 incidents over a couple of days, and it's been around. I understand. Alder Dorf, you wanted to say something?
Sure. I just just wanted to clarify with Alder Johnson. Is this like a draft that you were reading? I think you said draft, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was just reading off some bullet points of a draft. So again, this is based on direct conversation with the police department, with chief, and so this is kind of a framework that he developed, that he supports, and quite frankly, one that I support as well. I think it's just important that we respond with some level of community intervention, and I think this creates a good opportunity for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so your wish then, well, hold on a second, Alder Johnson, you're just looking to get this ball rolling right now. There's nothing specific. Maybe unless I'm missing something, there's no specific items at this moment, but we will move forward and study it accordingly. Is that what you're taking? Is that the take?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, unfortunately, we just got this document was just complete. Otherwise, part of your package.
Right. Exactly.
I don't think that. I mean, look, whether we act on it today or in a few weeks isn't going to necessarily matter when you're talking about, preventative strategies.
Sure.
But I think it's important that the public understands that we are working on things, that they see that we'd be able to talk about that at the community forum, even that we have scheduled this week. Quite frankly, if this body were even comfortable saying, like, look, we support the creation of a group, let the police department form it based on the parameters, and we can include this draft document with the city council packet. I don't necessarily think we need to delay it either.
I agree. And I know, and you did mention the Wednesday at 6:30 at the Neville Museum, there will be not a press conference, but it'll be a gathering of citizens and the police, correct? And they'll be speaking about the greater issues here.
Yeah, and I think if you wanted an action item coming out of today, Alder Steuer, I think it could be to support the creation of the task force to work with our neighborhood response team and appointed by the police chief.
Okay, whoever's listening, Attorney Mays or whoever, remember that. I like that motion. Alder LaFave, go ahead.
A couple things. Wednesday night at 6 o'clock is the Brown County board meeting, so I won't be able to make that at the museum. You said Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying
unfortunately,
to.
yeah.
Right.
But I want to make a comment. Okay, Alder Johnson, you had somebody questioning, gun violence. We can't, call it gun violence task force. And he says, what about the First Amendment? Excuse me. I don't think anyone has anything that says in the First Amendment, you have a right to take a gun and go out and shoot up people's houses and cars. Come on. I think it, I don't know, I just think that's terrible for someone to say something like that. But anyway, I think it's the gun violence task force. It is gun violence. That's what we're looking at. And that's something that is very concerning to these people in these communities. They want us to do something. And so,
I think that, well, whoever
so
forms the
what, if
task
somebody gets
force.
upset about the gun
Yeah.
violence task force, I think you can set them straight.
Okay. Well, Alder Stevens, were you raising your hand or you're just holding your roof up?
Oh, I concur with Alder Johnson. So I'd like to move forward with his recommendation.
Anybody else have any comments on that? Otherwise, that was perfectly worded. So, Attorney Mays, did you get that? Or Celestine? I probably won't be able to do it word for word. The way Alder Johnson said it is the way I'd like to see it.
Well, if you'd like me to restate it, Alder Stoyer.
Restate it for all of us, and we will vote accordingly.
To support the formation of a gun violence task force to support our neighborhood response team with individuals appointed by the police chief.
Okay.
Second.
No, well, no, you got to make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
The motion will be made by Stevens and then a second by LaFave. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Alder Johnson. I appreciate your insights here, and I think it's an issue that we really need to look at strongly. Thank you. All right. Now, this point 7, are we? Did we already kind of discuss that? I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Alder Johnson, you had mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's the same item. You could receive and place on file.
All right. So who?
Even place on file.
Okay, by Vanderleest, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by LaFave. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Well, Lieutenant, my favorite part of the meeting. Bring it on.
Okay, I know you probably received in your packet, you saw that we issued 2 citations to Club 920 for operating without a license. I just wanted to clarify that during the time frame of this report, like the November 22nd to December 13th, is when we were able to document they were open 2 times. They were actually issued 9 citations in total. But that extended from essentially middle of October until now. So that's why it only shows 2 on there, because that was between that time frame that we were able to document that they were open. There was also a disturbance at 1100 Main Street. The bouncers were given municipal citations for disorderly conduct. We do work well with them to make sure that the bouncers are actually helping solve the problem and not being part of the problem. And then in terms of going back to Club 920, we did meet with the owners with everything that's going on in the city. We met with the new owners. I can't go into detail what was talked about, but we are actively working with the owner and dealing with that situation at that establishment.
Okay. I have one question, well, maybe a couple. It's, for some reason, it seems like these 2-3 establishments, I've seen the names before. It seems like we have some recurring issues with these establishments, and I don't, is there just a lack of communication or understanding or ignorance, or what's your take?
We explain what they need to do to run a safe business and to follow the city ordinances. That's where we work close with Attorney Mays, that if they continue down this path and we need the documented violations, we have no problem with seeking for revocation of their license. But we need documented instances, kind of like our nuisance abatement ordinance. If they're willing to work with us, we will work with them. But when they stop working with us or put the proverbial head in the sand and not take responsibility, that's when we work with the city and you guys in full council about revocation of their licenses.
Okay. Attorney Mays, can can you add anything to that? Do you feel that, as far as revocation of a license, I suppose it varies with the establishments. Some might be more, have of a tougher tolerance to do the right thing. And I just wanted to get your take on that as far as revocation. What might it take? How many different violations in your mind's eye are needed to say, you know what, that's it? Or is every case different?
I think every case is different and it's very fact specific, looking at the nature of the violations, the severity of the violations. Obviously developing a track record of Chapter 125 violations is not moving in the right direction, but like Lieutenant Mahoney said, if the establishments are willing to work with us, we're willing to work with them, and the revocation of their license is, it's the last resort. When nothing else is working, that's the solution.
Well, like I said, I've seen the names of these establishments come up a couple of times. I think the committee has too, and we're just concerned that there might be a pattern here that is causing a problem. We're not against establishments being out there and tax-paying businesses and such, but if we have problems like this, it's not good for the community. So we'll keep our eyes on that, and we'll trust the police and law department to keep an eye on that. But we are aware of it. So
I have one quick question.
yeah, go ahead, Alder.
I was going to ask Mr. Lieutenant Mahoney, is the business open at this time right now?
No, they are not. They are currently closed. I have a message into the clerk's office. When they receive their liquor license, they are supposed to let me know so I can let the officers know. But every officer in the city of Green Bay, especially our night shift officer, know they are not to be open. So if we do catch them open, we're going to cite them and shut them down. So until that happens, they cannot open up.
That's Club 920, right? Club 920?
Correct.
Yes.
One other question. Will they have to pay all their existing fines before they can open? Is that correct?
No, because they haven't been adjudicated, the actual citations. They have some inspection issues, and then I believe to pay the city clerk to get their license, and then they could open up.
Okay.
Or they could be issued their license. It's up to them when they want to open. But yeah, that's when they'd have their license issued to them or physically given to them.
All right. Thank you. That answers my questions. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you. Now I noticed you have the 2021 violations and you also list some 2020. Is that just more or less the end of the year kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I know one of the ladies here that puts together that report, Sue Petty, just kind of lists them all throughout the year, and it is part of the end of the year.
Okay. So in your mind's eye, do you feel, any kind of violation is not good, but do you find that we pretty effective so far as this year? There's a number of them here, but is your take that it's getting better than worse, or what? Yeah. What's your take?
I believe it is getting better. Yes, obviously some establishments pop up as hot spots, and we work with them. We had one earlier this summer that was having quite a few issues, and the owner worked quite extensively with us. And the number of calls there just plummeted. It really worked. And we tell these places, we're not here to put them out of business. We don't sit on their bars or whatever and wait for drunks to come out. We want them to be successful. And we tell them from the city perspective what they need to do to be successful, to have their business run. There's been plenty of taverns and establishments that have been institutions in the city of Green Bay since I've been growing up here. So we just try and say, mirror that. If they work with us, work with the law department, we normally don't have any issues. It's when they stop working with us and stop listening to our suggestions for security and to keep a safe place following their stipulation agreements that we run into issues with them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think one of the concerns I have is that, the police department's spending a chunk of time on some of these problem establishments where, your time could be used elsewhere, but that's part of the nature of the job, correct?
Yeah, and without going into detail that it's a much bigger investigation, I can't give specifics. So We are aware, and I can promise you, we are actively working to make sure they follow the ordinances. If not, we won't have any issue with going to Attorney Mays and then before you folks to seek to revoke their license.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Committee, do you have anything else? Otherwise, we're getting to the end where we can wrap our presents now. Anybody else? Otherwise, thank you all. Well, we need to receive and place on file. Anybody?
To receive and place on file.
By Vanderleest, do we have a second? Seconded by Stevens. Anybody, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, adjournment. I don't have the calendar in front of me. When is our next meeting?
Let's see.
Happy birthday, Alderman. Oh, boy. Jeez.
I think it goes into January.
Yeah, just, I don't know.
10th. I think it only goes till the 10th.
January 10th?
Yeah.
That's what I saw on the new
All right.
agendas that was put out.
All right, thank you for that. So our next meeting will be January 10th. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy all the other, there's a whole bunch of them. Festivus for the rest of us. Yeah, I can throw that in there too.
Not afraid to say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that's fine. You could say whatever you want. Right?
All the other stuff too, all the good stuff. All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
By Vanderleest, do we have a second by LaFave? Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for your input and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, take care, everybody.